this computer and say once again, hi everyone, in here, out there, all ships at sea. Today, a workshop and a discussion. If you want to unmute yourself, if you want to say something, um, or interact with via the chat, that's all good. Some of you are multitasking, that's also fine. Glad that you are here, who are here, and if you watch this in afterwards, hope this is useful for you. What we talk about today is a probe or applicable also in your research. If you publishing, then you might have seen the Creative Commons licenses in the choices you do when you publish open access. It's the same what we do in publishing as with open educational resources. Just quickly, and please be honest in the chat real quick, have you seen the video from which we put on the link about the 5-minute video from colleagues in New Zealand about what Creative Commons licenses are? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Fantastic. Yes. All clear in this video? Or this more or less? Oh, yeah. If you, yeah, I will spin off and maybe explain some things a little bit different, show a little bit different resources and links as well. And to start with, I'll want to just show you also for your reflection spaces, your individual one, if you want to make them a little bit more visually appealing and want to find pictures that you are allowed to reuse and put on your blog or reflection space, then I show you a few places where you can find these, and maybe you're fully aware of them, maybe not. We'll see. And in the first ones, the first 2 minutes here now is just that has nothing to do with Creative Commons licenses. This is places like, and I share my screen here. Unsplash, you've heard of maybe? Yes? No?
No.
No? Okay.
Unsplash.
Unsplash, I put the links also in the chat, then you have them for future references. Beautiful free images and pictures. If you, so just the first minutes still in the picture and example of how can I reuse legally pictures of others which are available on the internet. Unsplash is a great resource, and you will have maybe figured out that some of the pictures we use on Open Network Learning come from Unsplash. So if you search here for group work, where we want sometimes fill some pictures on some slides, then you find here great examples, and this one is often used in on the internet. These are legally okay to use and reuse. You have to be careful. Some of them here with the plus, there are images from Getty Images, and then they want money. And there's something called Unsplash Plus where you also need to pay for. But the majority of the pictures here, and hundreds of thousands, are you are able to use for free legally without any problem. There's other places on the internet like Pixabay.com, I think it is. Let's see. Pixabay. Pixabay. I'll do the Google's the search. Pixabay.com. Yes, is another similar place. Here you find also hundreds of thousands of pictures which you can use for free. And why then the need for Creative Commons licenses, you might ask. I'll show you, and I go back to Unsplash. There I know we find some beautiful pictures. let's say you want to, and you can feel free to use it and click on those links that you have them in your browser history already, and search now while I do the search for my hometown or from my current hometown, Karlstad, for instance, in Sweden. If you say you want to do a presentation about your hometown and are not a good photographer yourself, on Unsplash you find quite some pictures, actually, much more these days than when I started with these online workshops. This is, for instance, a beautiful winter picture about the inner harbor of Karlstad. So you see here there's 655 pictures, quite a lot actually. But if that's not enough, or you don't find the pictures from your hometown, you could go to a different place. And in the video, in the end, there was search.creativecommons.org. I'll show you a different place here, the Openverse. Here you can find even more pictures, which you are allowed to reuse. And if we do the same search here, Karlstad, and we say not all content, because you can also search here for audio files. I want only images. Here you can find not only 900, but it shows the top 240 results, but here are thousands of pictures, and they're used to show that this is thousands of pictures. See, if you don't do this check immediately before, this is different from before. But the Openverse is a great page to find Creative Commons licensed material, images, audio files, for if you do want to do a course introduction video. And this is also the sustainable choice if we talk in comparison to AI use, right? You can make your pictures generative AI generated also, but this is would be your fingerprint or footprint. Your carbon footprint would be much much bigger than reusing someone else's picture, obviously. And then so here's the old school way of finding pictures you're legally allowed to use. Okay, all clear so far? I mentioned now 5 times legally and reusable, because a lot of times what we do, and I think many of us in the room did this, what we usually done for our teaching slides often is just copy and pasting from the internet, right? Hands up, or just if you heard of a friend or colleague, or maybe you are so brave to say it in the chat here, have you ever copy and pasted material from the internet and pretty sure that you're not allowed to? Yes, I see Lisa nodding. I'm pretty sure many of us did this, right? And we do this usually, I guess. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. It's a yes, but we are all aware of that we are copyright breaching, right? We are breaking the law then. In teaching, it's sometimes maybe it's okay, guilty as charged, yes. But this doesn't have to be the case, and it's not so complicated to do this properly. And while being in topic 2 in ONL now, talking about open sharing, if we want to share openly and feel good about it, and not only feel good about it, but want to rest assured that we're not breaching copyright laws, which is probably the good thing to do, or a better thing to do, then we need to know how to get around the copyright laws which infringe on the opportunities the internet provides us with, right? So, and here, the easy way for pictures is, of course, pages like I was in before, Unsplash, Pixabay. There's more Pexels, and you can help each other out if you know other places like this. The other much more powerful way, I think, is create understanding and integrating Creative Commons licenses in your teaching practice and research practice, presentation practice. And for this, maybe this 5-minute video is good enough from Creative Commons. It has all the answers. Maybe we use now a half an hour to go through this in a little bit more detail with you, having the opportunity to ask me questions and stop me and ask a follow-up question if you wanted to. This is kind of the idea with this webinar and workshop today. All right. So just quickly, do you know about the copyright law and how long someone has the copyright, and you have copyright on your pictures? How long? What do you think if you create something which is good enough to be created as a work in the legal terms? Do you know how long you have copyright and what you need to do in order to have copyright? Nah,
No, I don't.
not really. No, good. Then there's a use for this. It's anyone in the room? No, no. Thank you for interacting in the chat. Then it's 70 years after you pass away.
Yikes.
Yeah, and that is because Disney wants to cash in on their copyright and wants to make more money of their copyright, of their assets, of their intellectual property. So they lobbied for our politicians without any one of us caring. And we changed around the world copyright law which is there is no international copyright law. Each copyright law is specific to its own country, but it's generally around the globe 70 years after the copyright owner passes away. And then you're not bound to copyright law for this particular work. So, and you've heard this maybe, there was in the news, the original Mickey Mouse, for instance, is now in the public domain. Yeah, 50 years, it's in some countries, I think. But in many countries, it's 70 years. Anything you need, or do you know what you need to do in order to have copyright on your work?
But I wanted to ask, because copyright is the gray zone when it comes to like teachers' material, because it feels a little bit like the copyright you need to file, you have to have the varumärkesskyddad, what is it called in English?
This is yes, the like trademark.
Trademark.
Yes. Two different things.
Yeah.
So copyright is the one thing.
Copyright is the one thing. Okay.
Yeah, so and copyright, you don't need to do anything in order to have copyright on the stuff you produce. If you have a PowerPoint slide and you did some creative work in this, creating this PowerPoint slide, your teaching material in Sweden, you are the copyright owner. And you don't have to do anything. If you create a picture, take a picture and publish it on the internet, you have the copyright and you don't have to register your copyright anywhere. Okay. Companies, in order to, or individuals in research, you sometimes want to register your trademark to secure that even more. But your copyright for your creative work, intellectual work, you have it immediately. You don't need to do anything.
Okay.
So also just putting it on the internet, for instance, doesn't reverse or doesn't diminishes your copyright. You still have your copyright. And we know we copy it, paste something from the internet. We know when we do this, we're breaching copyright. So you still, what if we want to do it legally and use someone, and it's been mentioned in the video, but just for understanding, testing our understanding here now and just reiterating it, what do we need to, if we find a picture or something and we don't see anything about the Creative Commons or anything, and it's not on Unsplash or somewhere else on this particular place, if we see something after Google search and find it and want to reuse it in our slides or videos or whatnot, what do we need to do? Do you know? Do you remember from the video? No. Okay. Anyone? If
One
you
of the
find,
ones that didn't
sorry.
see it.
No, yeah, it was, yeah, no
And
problem. This is why this usually, as exactly, as very good. We have the answer in the chat. If you want to reuse something and you don't, you need to ask for permission. And this is very annoying process and time-consuming process. Something is difficult to know who's the copyright owner if you find something on the internet, and this is why we're usually taking the shortcut and don't do it, right? We just copy and paste it. And here, as it was said in the video, here Creative Commons licenses come in. If we, as person, individual, or as teacher, created a PowerPoint slide or a video or a course, and think like, oh, we want others to be able to reuse it and make this process easier, that others can legally reuse it and make it more explicit and easier to understand what they are allowed to do and what not. Then we come back to Creative Commons licenses and make use of Creative Commons licenses as an international language to make this process much easier. And Creative Commons licenses helps us with this. And we are turning around the process for asking for permission. If I create something like this ONL course or a video now and publish it on YouTube, I immediately put a Creative Commons license on it and communicating and giving permission to everyone out there, to you, and you know what you're allowed to do with it. And you don't have to ask for permission if you're using it under the terms which I stated with the help of the Creative Commons licenses. Yeah, and exactly, and this is always what we should do, right? Giving credit where required, but just giving credit to something we copied and pasted from the internet, it does not help us from breaching copyright law. But as a creator of a work, and when I publish it with the Creative Commons license, then I always know people will give me credit, because what, like we do on the Open Network Learning homepage, on the footer, you will see, for instance, that we always refer back to the great work of Lars Olin or Chrissy Niranzi, which joined us last week, because they invented FDOL, right? And we reuse FDOL concept and adapt it to Open Network Learning and refer back to it. Yes. All right. Good. Then you see here some on the right-hand side, and now we're going through maybe a little bit more slowly the different license types, right, of the Creative Commons licenses. They were explained in the video. We go through this, and I show you here where you can find the links to the Creative Commons homepage, where it's very easily explained. And feel free to play around in the meantime and do it yourselves for pictures you might find interesting for your next reflection space. We start with the most permissive license, CC BY. You've seen these logos before on open access articles, no? Not really?
thought about them.
No? Next time you read an open access article, look at the first page at the bottom. You will see them. Otherwise, it's not an open access article. So here you can filter them. Now you will find only pictures about Karlstad, which someone put out there with the license CC BY. And I'll pick a picture which I think is nice and which I want to reuse. And this would be this one here, Sula i Karlstad. It's a statue and a historical person in town. Here you get not only you get a link to the original place where you can download the picture. In this case, it's here from the Wikimedia Commons. Here's the original picture. Here you find some nice resources which you can easily, for your blog, for instance, or a reflection space on WordPress, you can just copy this one, click on copied, and then you can go to your post and insert it. And then you have all the links and credits, as we're supposed to give credit to the copyright owner here and creator, Jan in this case. And you find a link here to Jan's Wikimedia Commons page. You find other quality images of Jan. And yeah, if you want to, it in different versions, you want to maybe in HTML, you can click here, or in plain text. It depends on where you want to reuse this picture. You get some great help here, and you can just right click maybe and copy this image. And then you can reuse it and very easily use it legally. And in order to understand even better what you can do with this language, you have the with this license, we can always have the link to the license here, and it links to the human readable version of the Creative Commons license, in this case an old one, CC BY 2.5. It's always the same, really. If we focus on this part, you are free to share and adapt. And if you just want to read this part here, so you can be certain, if you reuse this picture of the Sula, you can do anything with it, really. You can print it out. You can put it on a t-shirt, on a cup, in your reflection space, in your PowerPoint slides, in your next course introduction video. As long, and you can remix and transform it, build upon it in any shape or form, really, and as long as you give credit to Jan and say where you found the original picture. You can even sell those stuff then and make money with it. Jan gave you the permission already beforehand. This is the beauty of the Creative Commons licenses. It's very clear. And I said this is the human readable version because there's two other versions as well. In all Creative Commons licenses, there's the legal code here. And those of us, and we have colleagues in the course, maybe in the room, which are lawyers, right? They would be able to read and understand and make sense of this text here, which I can't. I cannot give legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. And I seldomly read this in detail. But here you find the legally binding text, which was tested in courts around the world and holds up to legal standards as well. So there's the legal code to it. And the third language is behind the Creative Commons licenses, which enables us to do stuff like this, the automatic filtering. There's a computer readable version of it as well. If you upload a picture on Wikimedia, on Pexel, on Flickr, or if you upload your video on YouTube and tag it with a Creative Commons license, it's machine readable as well. So computer programs can read this very quickly and can enable us filtering like this. So we can easily filter out from all the pictures Creative Commons license pictures. That's the advantage and beauty of the Creative Commons licenses. Yes, questions regarding this? Or all crystal clear? All crystal clear, Christina. You've heard this before, I'm sure, or do workshops yourself around this. Yes. Yes, then I go through some other licenses if you don't stop me. The other one, which is a little bit more tricky maybe, is share alike. This is a license which enables and helps us creating even more Creative Commons licensed works. And I'll explain why and how that is. And we choose a picture, another fine, yeah, now you see a Creative Commons licensed pictures of Karlstad University, the building where I'm sitting in right now, the library. I'm sitting on the other end of this building. See, this is a picture by Tony Chainsaw. We can, yes, another Wiki Media Commons users. Tony Chainsaw put this picture on Wikimedia Commons with the CC by Share Alike license, and we look at what this license says in comparison to the other license. Again, you see, we are exactly allowed to do exactly the same as in the CC BY license. Now there's another term. We not only need to give attribution, but if I remix, transform, or build upon the material, and that is kind of, it's not just putting it on my blog and then this is not building upon. If I maybe make a collage of it with other pictures or do really change the picture as such, recolor it or make a black and white picture out of it and publish that picture or work, then that work, my work, where I used Tony Chainsaw pictures, original pictures, that I need to publish with the same license. Then I also need, Tony forces me to also make use of Creative Commons licenses in this case, if I want to publish my work. So you have the power to do this. If you want to make use of this power, then you need to use this share alike license. Make sense? This is a little bit more complicated. The others are even more straightforward, I'd say. We go back to the Karlstad pictures.
Jörg, how is it controlled? How is it
enforced?
I mean, enforced, or because it would Tony Chainsaw come and get me if I didn't?
Yes, I mean, if he could, then, right? Of course, it's with all copyright owners, and how do I enforce and keep track of that people are abiding to this? If Tony would find out that I'm not abiding to it, and the rules are then, as soon as, see, and we had the case with Open Network Learning. I referenced wrongly to FDOL before on the ONL homepage. Chrissy let me know and said, like, look, you need to change this. Then I have 2 weeks to make changes and fix this from that point when the copyright owner lets me know. But it's always up to the copyright owner to keep track of those things. It's always, I guess. You have to take care and nourish your own rights. If you don't take care of your own rights, then they are not used.
Okay,
it's up to the copyright owner. But as the user, which also helps reusing stuff, even if you do a mistake, you cannot be sued immediately. You have always a 2-week time to fix your potential mistakes. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you for your question. Terry.
Yes, I had a question because I'm teaching French history and French society and politics.
Yeah.
For instance, I was looking for a picture of the French president, Macron, with another president, the president of Algeria.
Yeah.
And I tried with all the free images, but I didn't find anything. It was very, very poor.
Okay.
So when I need this kind of picture, really exact pictures, or there are this kind of picture, I could find them, for instance, in a French magazine.
Yeah.
But it's going to be the same. If I take some picture from Le Monde, or it would be the same problem with copyright, I guess.
Yes.
How do you do when you have you are looking for a precise picture?
Yes. Then I would suggest you going, each of our libraries have a copyright expert or because this is now coming from this topic from the other direction. I'm coming from the direction I'm explaining you the copyright comments and tell you what you can do with this framework. Your question is coming from the other direction. I have this use case in mind, and copyright is restricting my use. Then there is, like in England, in America, it's called fair use. In France, you probably have something the same. In Sweden, we have something called the bonusavtalet, which is a framework and enabling us for teaching purposes. We don't have to be as rigid for the copyright processes. We can just do stuff. In particular, in our LMS, in our closed learning digital spaces and classrooms, there we are much more have freedom to use in your PowerPoint slides.
Okay.
So, but double check with your lawyers at your universities and copyright experts. You might just be fine anyway. And you probably, if you copy stuff for teaching purposes, you don't breach any copyright rules anyway.
If it stay inside the canvas, the one
Exactly. But we so in teaching regularly in classrooms and in the LMS, we are usually generally fine anyway. But now and this is usually the problem when we say like, oh, now we want to do massive open online courses or an open education, then this is not applying anymore. This is a little bit of the background. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. All right. Then and just like just on your particular use case, then there's two other options. I guess on the top of my mind, either you search for a picture of Macron and of the Algerian president and put them next to each other, and this raises your chances to find Creative Commons licensed work, or for special use cases now these days have a AI generated picture and make sure you state this is AI generated, because you probably get very good results anyway. But this is leaving a big footprint, of course, carbon footprint using these generative AI machines. Going back to the licenses, another combination of letters, you see ND. And this is my go-to picture. I love this black and white picture. This here, a picture by Michael Wiemann, posted on Flickr, is with the license ND, and it says here already, no derivatives or adaptations permitted. So if we go to the deed, to the text, what is allowed to do, I can copy and share this picture and redistribute the material in any medium and format. I can still put it on my coffee cup. I can still print it out. But I cannot now, I cannot take this picture here and write something across. ONL is the best course in the world. I cannot do this with this picture. I can write it next to it or above it, but I cannot recolor this or transform this picture, because Michael has said I'm not allowed to do this with his picture without asking for permission. He gave me and all of us the permission to share it, to copy it, even commercially, but only if I don't do any changes to the pictures itself. Not so difficult, I think, to follow. This is just one of those things the Creative Commons framework allows us to do. Or interrupt me if you have questions, as you started doing already. So keep on doing with that. That's ND. And then there's another letter, two letters, NC, and you maybe understand already what this is about. Here you see another talking politicians, a Swedish former active politician. This picture here, NC, and NC you see with the logo, understandably, non-commercial. So we can go to the license deed. I can share, adapt anything again, and transform it, adapt it. I don't even have to publish it with a Creative Commons license in this case, but I cannot use it for commercial purposes. Okay? With the other licenses, I could. Mikael's picture I can sell. All the other stuff I showed you, we can use it in, if you do work, for instance, in executive education, you're selling courses to companies, then you could use all the other pictures, not this picture. In our regular courses, if it's not commercial, then you don't have to think about this license so much. You can just reuse it. But if you're working professionally, if you have a consulting company maybe next to your daily work, then you could not use the non-commercial pictures, whereas in your regular courses, you probably could. Right? That's the different licenses, and then there's two more, and there's combinations of the above, right? NC share alike, then it's non-commercial share alike, and non-commercial non-derivatives. That's the most restrictive licenses. You can always ask the permission holders then, if you wanted to, with these licenses, the last three, if you wanted to use it in a commercial context, you can still contact the copyright owner and asking, and then they probably would tell you, yes, you can. I want to see some money. Yeah, no problem, Lisa, and thanks for stopping by. Oh, you left already. Yeah, so then there's two more licenses which were not mentioned in the video, I think, and that's public domain mark and CC0. And Thierry, I think I sent. Did you say you teach history, right? And for
history and yeah,
political
history, old history, modern history. So
yeah. So for old stuff, we said the copyright is in some countries it's 50 years after the copyright holder's death, or 70 years, and after that period, the pictures are in the public domain, right? They're freely available. They're not covered by copyright law anymore. In order to mark those works and pictures of video, I don't think there's maybe videos of this. Is mainly pictures then, but there might be an old original video of like the first black and white videos. They probably could be in the public domain. If you mark those works, then with this public domain mark, and some copyright holders also would like to immediately get rid of their copyright for whatever reasons, and you could use then the CC0 license. Then the copyright owner said, I don't want to have any copyright. I am refraining from my copyright. And then there is no copyright owner anymore. Those are the other two licenses. They are not part really of the Creative Commons license set. These were the licenses and the background where you can find more information on the Creative Commons homepage. If we mentioned on the topic terms like open educational resources and open educational practices. Just a word, and we showed you had some links where you can find open educational resources. I just want to show you another resource which is not on there, I think. Colleagues from us in Germany, they did the Open Educational Resource Search Index, which I put here in the chat for you. Just a little bonus for you who came to the workshop. This is now we're not talking about pictures, right? Now we're talking about teaching material, about maybe a book or a PowerPoint presentation, a video, or Yeah, what other types are in this search index? Videos, textbooks, drill and practice, courses, text, worksheets. Yeah, you can read yourself, and there's plenty. Here in the Open Educational Resource Search Index, you find 88,000 of these, right? They are all licensed with Creative Commons license, which you can see here. We talked about these. Here's CC0. This is the public domain mark, and there's some other licenses which are mainly used for code, the MIT license and the GPL license. So you can filter for these, and you can filter for your subject area. If you are in the humanities or in human medicines or health or in law, you can filter these and can find works. So this is very useful. And then you find teaching material, which you could reuse. And now that you know how to work with the Creative Commons licenses, you might find some good stuff. This is also very useful now in our day and age when we work with large language models and want to maybe find workflows. Now I'm leaving this subject area a little bit, and as it's so common and everyone talks about great generative AI and language models, we could now use open educational resources and in any language, right? Because a lot of them is in English, but large language models are great in understanding any type of language, right? So you can, even if you find stuff in Finnish and would have a chatbot to your disposal and for your students, you could make use of these as well and get even better answers from your chatbot in teaching circumstances. But this is maybe ONL 2.0 or maybe a topic for future topics in the ONL course. This is just the relation to open educational resources and the Creative Commons licenses. I hope this will help you to make use of this, reuse it, and publish maybe your next video or PowerPoint deck with a Creative Commons license that others can reuse it. That's the entire idea of working with Creative Commons licenses, to make the process of reusing and enabling others to build on your work more easily. For those of us who want to share and reuse what we usually want to do in teaching, building, and in research, building on the shoulder of giants is what we do in research and in teaching, I guess. And this helps us doing it legally. Correct. Questions, comments, other remarks? No? All crystal clear. Then I know there were some questions about the reflection spaces. And maybe I stop sharing. I get now latest today in a few connected, like where you filled in, or your colleagues filled in the that you have your individual reflection space up and running, and that you fill in the form on the course homepage. I'm in the process of sharing these probably today or tomorrow on opennetworklearning.se, and that you find the ones who shared publicly. That's only a few of us so far who said they want to share their reflections openly and have them published on the Open Network Learning homepage. The majority of you want to share it in the community space, and I will hopefully set this up automatically in the next days also as well. And we have a question regarding this here, I guess.
That would have been my question,
Yeah.
literally. If you're because I know that one of our team members has already shared her reflection.
Yeah.
But that makes total sense if it hasn't been published yet.
Come again. What did your colleague do?
So she shared the link to her reflection directly with us through the community space of our group.
Yeah, in your PBL group space. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
but I am not seeing any links on the sides in the menu of
No.
like the reflection spaces of my colleagues.
No, no, exactly. So, and that if you don't see something, and there could be plenty of reasons, obviously, right? They could have created a reflection space, maybe, but maybe they haven't published anything yet. And the other thing is, which we have not done yet, is as not so many of us have started. Some of us have. We haven't connected it that it's this automatic process, which I mentioned in the topic 1 workshop, which we have in place now. The RSS feeds, we have this not up and running yet, but this I will do in the next couple of days. Publicly and very, very likely also in the community space. And what you can always do already, if you reflect it, and some of us, if you go to the community space, or and I can show you, I mean, what you can always do manually is just share your reflections and put a link in the reflection space, as Felicia did here with the topic 1.
Yeah, that's what one of our colleagues did.
Yeah. And that you can do manually. We just wanted to make it easier for you and automatically. So that we are doing also and in the next couple of days. If that's, yeah, that was your question. Yeah. Any other questions regarding this part? No, then I hopefully you will be using also pictures in your reflection spaces. Then they will be shown when we redistributing them, and that this makes it much more beautiful, of course, and on looking at internet pages or when there's also a picture, right? And it's colorful maybe, but this is optional, of course. But now you know how to share openly, legally, with or without the use of Creative Commons licenses. Great. Then, if you have nothing else, I'm pretty much done. Thanks for today.
Thank you very much, Jörg.
Yeah, sure. My pleasure. And have fun in your PBL group and in the rest of the community, and make use of the reflection week next week when there is nothing synchronous planned, which you have to attend to, and come up to speed with your individual reflections. And let us know if you wonder about anything. Just post in the community space. See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.